Hi again, everybody. Terry Vanderbeck with Sanford Health. As you can see, we're taking our COVID-19 content series in a different direction today. We're joined by one of our Sanford sports elite athletes, Amy Olson, pro golfer, North Dakota native, and all-around helpful human being. So, Amy, first of all, you guys holding up okay? Just on a personal level, you and your family, everybody safe so far?
Yeah, everybody's good so far. Everybody's kind of hunkered down and just staying wherever we were. My parents were planning, obviously, to come to tournaments on the West Coast until they got canceled, and so they just stayed in Fargo, and I stayed down south in Arizona where I was planning to be.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, just to reiterate, this is part of our ongoing content series here, trying to help athletes through the things that are going on. Everybody's health and safety is first and foremost, but at the same time, everyone's trying to find their way through it and be as productive as they can and stay as physically and mentally healthy as they can. So Amy's agreed today to give us a few minutes and talk through some of what she's trying to do. Amy, you're a person who's not only you get your skill reps in all the time, but you're one who buys into the strength training and flexibility and all that kind of thing. There's challenges that you deal with all the time on those fronts due to your travel schedule. So how are you trying to make the best of the situation so far and trying to be ready for whenever the time comes to get back to playing competitions?
Well, it's so weird, Terry, like you said, it's all about being ready, but you're not sure when you're supposed to be ready for, right?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we're in a rain delay. We're like, hey, we're going to give you an update in 20 minutes if you're going out or not. So it's not like I know I have this 3-month chunk of time off and I can take some time off and then start getting ready. I have to be ready, every week because I don't know when we're going to come back. So there's definitely a part of that. Another part of this obviously is from what I've heard, the latest health advice, gyms for the most part aren't the place to be. So all of my training has been outdoors or in the living room on a mat and just trying to stay in routine as much as I can, but obviously making some accommodations for health purposes. So I would say my daily routine hasn't that much. Trying to be active, I'm trying to be outside. Fortunately, I play a sport where golf courses are still open. It's still a safe place to be from everything we've heard. So I've been able to practice, been able to work out slightly modified, but it's really that competition that's missing. And, we're just trying to stay ready until we do compete again.
Yeah. Let's find some positives. How are you finding positives in what's happened so far? Because again, I think that's really important for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the biggest positives in the lives that we live, and especially as athletes, we're so busy, right? Like we add this entire other love of our life and try to fit it in and do it excellent, right? And the danger of that is sometimes we can burn out from being too busy. This is a forced rest. There's a lot of things we can't do right now, and it's honestly a great mental break. So definitely seeing some positive there if you can take advantage of that. Physically, it's a little bit of a rest. I'm not dealing with jet lag. I'm not dealing with a lot of the stuff that I deal with on a week-to-week basis on my body because I just can't do what I'm normally doing. So definitely some positives in the rest component. And Barry, you and I have talked a lot about recovery over the years, and that's an extremely important part of performance. So this is a time to really work on that.
Yeah, no, great point. The other thing that I'm trying to challenge myself with, I think personally, Amy, and I'm hardly alone, just use myself as an example, is trying to think ahead. So we're in the spot we're in now, and obviously we're all anticipating what's it going to be like when things get back to whatever the normal is going forward. At the same time, there are going to be implications, ramifications, whether it's people getting more accustomed and familiar with technology like this, where it becomes part of the normal way of life more than it was before. I know a lot of gyms are looking at that. How do you take things online? What sort of things are you anticipating in your world as a professional athlete? Again, there's the travel stuff. What are you trying to wrap your head around the way that things might change coming out of this?
I haven't really thought of it a whole lot. I think the biggest thing I've taken is I've just become so much more conscious of washing my hands, of just some of
Sure.
those basic things that it's like sometimes you come off the golf course and I'm like, I haven't washed my hands in 6 hours. Okay, now I'm carrying hand sanitizer and whatever it is. Just some of those things that we don't think about in day-to-day life. Now it's like all of a sudden, okay, you know what? And I'm going to take my hand sanitizer on the plane and wipe down my seats. That's a good idea all of the time, not just now. So I think on the health side, there's definitely some things that I've thought of and changes that I'll probably make down the road. As far as technology goes, I spend a lot of time on FaceTime talking to family, utilizing that bit. I use my coach quite a bit, video back and forth, and I think that'll probably be the same going forward.
Yeah, you mentioned your own coach, but you are also married to a coach, Grant Olson, former North Dakota State star linebacker and coach with those guys. They're obviously thrown off schedule too. What does Grant as a coach? What sort of limitations or things is he trying to do? Because we know the regimen of that program, and they're going to find ways to turn this into advantages and things they can do to be even better. But what stuff have you sensed just out of him and things you guys have talked through?
Yeah, their schedule's changed a lot. They're on spring break right now, and they're basically told right now for sure 1 week, probably 2 weeks, don't come back into the office. And this was their spring ball, so this was like their major time for allowing some of the younger to get a ton of rest to improve, and they're going to miss out on that, or it's going to be postponed. All of that's a little bit indefinite right now. I think all of those guys, Grant's going to stress to them the importance of putting the work in on their own, whether it's workouts and pushing themselves, watching film. There's so many things, even in a team sport, where you can work on individually, which is kind of what we have to focus on during this time.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what we've been trying to do here at Sanford Sports is get that word out. We had a really good clip that went up recently with one of our essentially sports researchers, sports scientists, talking about little things you can do, like with a pen, to sharpen your mental focus and make sure those neurons and synapses in your brain keep firing quickly like they would in a competition. So again, we encourage people to look into that. Last thing, Amy, before we let you go, this has been a unique situation in terms of just information. There's great information, there's not so great information. We're in the era of fake news, and for it to cross over into this situation is really interesting. In terms of going forward, though, again, at some point, we're going to start being told as a healthcare system and as pro athletes to go ahead and move forward. What are your thoughts, or again, what have you put any thoughts around just resuming play and travel? And I'm sure you've had to put a lot of flights and hotel reservations and all that kind of thing on hold, and you're not going to be traveling just like within the state here. I mean, you're all over, literally all over the world. When it's time, are you preparing yourself just to go like, all right, we're back to business? I'm going to trust that everything's taken care of and that we can move forward. What are kind of your early thoughts on just the way that we're all going to have to sort of examine what to do going ahead?
Right. Well, things are changing so fast right now. Almost on a daily basis, we're getting new information. There's new cases. We're kind of trying to watch, like, is it rapidly expanding? Like, what point in this cycle are we in? So I'm relying a lot on health professionals like you guys, the CDC, just trying to monitor on a daily situation. Right now, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do as far as I'm going to come back to Fargo at some point in a week, maybe 2 weeks. Grant definitely has to come back, and we're looking into the possibility of, do we drive? It's a long drive, but it means it's safer than flying. We're kind of going to play it by ear, and in 2 weeks probably make that call.
Sure. Well, interesting stuff. Not to mention, again, you're very philanthropically inclined with the trying to get water to folks in Africa. Have you been able to keep in touch with them at all and see what, again, it's just it's hard for those of us in the Western world to fathom most of the time, but especially at a time like this.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a huge fundraiser. It was their biggest fundraiser of the year last Monday, and that, of course, got canceled. They moved to an online auction instead, and so this has impacted so many things. But as far as the work that's being done over there, Africa, actually, from the last I saw, really hasn't been hit. They've been unaffected by this, whether that's due to the warmer climate, whatever it is. And so work has gone on as normal. And we're obviously a little bit more affected by COVID here, but we're still trying to provide hope and provide water over there and continue to work. Perfect.
Again, our guest today has been Amy Olson from the LPGA, one of our Sanford sports athletes. Again, guys, stay tuned to these channels. We're gonna have more workouts. We're gonna have more tips. We really appreciate Amy you sharing your story and trying to give people a sense for what you're trying to do, and again how our younger athletes can kind of follow suit. Obviously, we encourage everybody to continue to take this very seriously and reach out. I think athletes like Amy, for example, if you want to tweet at her and get some more things, I'm sure she'd be open to that. And again, we're all finding our way around this. So Amy, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Glad to hear you and your family are well. And stay tuned. Athletes will have more tips for you here in the coming days.